Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Brilliant as the Sun, Retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Part 2, Two Avatars. We're going to be reading from Chapter 23, Devahuti's Lamentation. Kardam creates a wondrous aerial mansion in which he conceives 9 daughters with Devahuti. Then he informs Devahuti that according to their agreement, he now wishes to accept sannyas. She asks him to first bestow on her fearlessness. Verses 1 to 3, Maitreya said, after Devahuti's parents left, that chaste lady always tried to understand her husband's desires. She waited upon him constantly with great love. As Bhavani, Lord Shiva's wife, serves him, she served her husband with intimacy, respect, controlled senses, and sweet words. She shunned lust, pride, envy, greed, vanity, and sinful activities. By her diligent service, she pleased her powerful husband. Verse 4 and 5, she was fully devoted to him because she saw him as greater than even providence. She was confident he could bestow great blessings on her. Gradually, she grew weak and emaciated due to her rigid vow of service to her husband. When the foremost of celestial sages, Kardam, saw her condition, he was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with love. Listen now what transpired. As the sun rose above the horizon, Kardam came out of his meditative trance. The wind blew gently through the verdant forest clearing. Next to his small hut, he had constructed another similar dwelling for Devahuti. He saw her returning from the river, bearing a jug of water on her head. Tears pricked his eyes. The princess had enjoyed a privileged upbringing with every opulence and comfort. However, throughout the many years of their marriage, she had embraced severe hardships, ceaselessly striving to please him. Although he rose well before sunrise, she woke before him, and at night she rested after him. He ate frugally once a day, and she observed the same austerity, accepting only his remnants. As she placed the jug on the ground, Kardam noted how thin and tired she looked. Her face was drawn and her hair disheveled. Kardam gently took her hand and sat her next to him. Verses 6 to 8, respectful daughter of Sambhuva Manu, I am delighted by your great devotion and excellent loving service. Since everyone cherishes their body, I am astonished that you have neglected yours to serve me. By my practice of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness, I have achieved Krishna's blessings, which destroy fear and lamentation. Although you have not performed such practices, by selfish service to me, you have rightfully earned their results. Just behold these wonderful gifts. I give you the vision to see them. In her mind, Devahuti could see how by Kardam's grace she would attain happiness greater than the gods, freedom from suffering, and ultimately pure love of God. Placing her delicate hands over her heart, she beamed in gratitude. Kardam continued, what is the use of any achievement other than Krishna's mercy? All material gains are vanquished simply by movement of his eyebrow. By your devotion to your husband, you have achieved boons rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. Verse 9, Devahuti glanced bashfully at her powerful husband. Since he had mastered the spiritual sciences, she was confident his blessings would never fail. Verses 10 and 11, my dear husband, best of the Brahmins, I know that because you are protected by Krishna's spiritual energy, you have achieved perfection and are the master of infallible mystic powers. She looked down, hesitating for a moment. However, you once made a promise that our bodily union should now fulfill. Since bearing children is a great quality for a chaste woman with a glorious husband, my lord, I am struck by excited emotion for you. Kindly make the necessary arrangements according to the scriptures. Let my emaciated body withered by unsatisfied passion be rendered fit for you. Please provide a suitable house for this purpose. Devahuti knew the Kama Shastras instruct how good children should be conceived. They describe the type of dwelling and decor best suited for that, as well as how the wife should dress and decorate herself, the perfume she should use, and how she should make herself attractive. This creates a favorable mental situation conducive to good progeny. Verses 12 to 21, Kardam understood her mind. He exercised his yogic power, instantly producing an aerial mansion that could travel at his will. It was bedecked with jewels, adorned with pillars of precious stones, and capable of yielding whatever one desired. It was equipped with opulent furnishing and decor, which became more exquisite in the course of time. Taking Devahuti by the hand, Kardam gave her a tour of the celestial mansion. It was fully equipped with everything her heart might desire. The sage pointed out its different features, which made it pleasant in all seasons. Devahuti admired the colorful flags, festoons, and numerous sculptures and paintings. There were also tapestries of linen, silk, and other fabrics. She appreciated the wreaths of charming flowers that attracted pleasantly humming bees. The palace looked charming with beds, couches, fans, and seats arranged in 7 stories. Its beauty was enhanced by decorative engravings on the walls, emerald floors, and coral daises. Devahuti marveled at the splendid mansion with its gleaming crystal thresholds and doors bedecked with diamonds, gold pinnacles crowned with its sapphire domes, choice rubies set in the gleaming walls resembled eyes. It was furnished with astonishing canopies and golden gates. Here and there in the palace were flocks of swans and doves, as well as imitations of so lifelike that real birds rose above them again and again, thinking them alive. The palace vibrated with their calls. The princess saw pleasure grounds, resting chambers, bedrooms, and inner and outer courtyards, all luxuriously designed. Even Kardam was astonished at his creation. Verse 22 and 23, as they finished their tour, Kardam noticed Devahuti's head was hanging down. He understood that she felt out of place in such elegant surroundings. The sage said, "My dear lotus-eyed wife, do not be anxious. Bathe in Lake Bindu Sarovar, created by Lord Vishnu himself, which can grant all desires. After that, you may join me in this aerial palace." Verses 24 to 27, Devahuti hurried to the lake. As she stood on its shore, she was shocked by her reflection in its calm waters. Her dress was soiled, her long hair matted, and her skin coated with a thick layer of dirt. She entered the lake, where it joined with the Saraswati river. In a house within the lake, she saw 1,000 girls, all in prime of youth and fragrant like lotuses. When they saw her, the damsels rose with folded hands. "We are your maidservant. How may we serve you?" Verses 28 to 33, the girls respectfully bathed Devahuti with valuable oils and ointments and dressed her in fine cloth. They decorated her with brilliant, valuable jewels. Then they offered her first-class food and a sweet, inebriating drink. When she was sated, the maid-servants respectfully brought her a mirror. To her delight, she had regained her former beauty. Radiant and adorned with a garland, she was dressed in immaculate robes and decorated with auspicious tilak. A fabulous pearl necklace with a jewel locket hung around her neck. She wore bangles on her wrists and tinkling gold anklets. On her hips was a golden girdle set with numerous jewels. She smiled broadly, admiring her fine white teeth in the mirror. Her dark eyebrows were like 2 bows, and her eyes with their moist corners seemed like lotus buds. Curling tresses framed her face. Verses 34 to 37 now. When she affectionately thought of her great husband, to her amazement, she, along with her 1,000 maidservants, at once appeared before him. Astonished, she marveled at his yogic power. Kardam was struck with love for his wife, who was now as beautiful as when he first met her. Her fine silken robes accentuated her charming figure. Taking her arm in his own, Kardam escorted her onto the aerial mansion, followed by her maidservants. Seeing that it was well past midnight, Maitreya and Vidur decided to rest. With half-closed eyes, Maitreya sat in silent meditation as Vidur lay on the soft grass wrapped in his shawl. Before sunrise, they bathed in the river lake and recited their morning prayers. After feeding the fire, Maitreya resumed his narration about Kardam and Devahuti. Verses 38 and 39. Although Kardam was surrounded by beautiful maidens and acted with loving attachment to Devahuti, he retained his glorious self-mastery. To Devahuti, he retained his glorious self-mastery. Coursing in the aerial mansion, the couple shone as charmingly as the moon amid the stars. They travelled to the pleasure valleys of Mount Meru. And where gentle breezes blew, carrying celestial fragrances that stimulated passion. They saw Kuver, treasurer of the gods, enjoying with angelic women and praised by Siddhas. Kardam and his wife remained there for many years. Verses 40 and 41. Satisfied by Devahuti, he enjoyed not only on Mount Meru, but in celestial gardens known as Vaishrambhak, Surasen, Nandan, Pushpabhadrak, and Chaitrarthya. And by the Manas Sarovar lake, he thus traversed the heavens, passing various planets as the air passes unchecked in every direction. Surging through the sky in that great and splendid palace which flew at his will, he surpassed even the gods. Vidur was amazed. Kardam's power was unimaginable. The gods are generally restricted to their own realms, but the sage went wherever he liked. Verse 42. Seeing his incredulous expression, Maitreya said, "What is difficult to achieve for determined men who take refuge of Krishna's lotus feet, which are the source of sacred rivers like the Ganges? Krishna's feet even end the dangers of material existence." Vidur was eager to know what Kardam did next. Verses 43 to 46, Maitreya said, after showing his wife the wonders of the universe, with its constellations, galaxies, and countless planets, the great yogi Kardam returned to his hermitage. There he employed his yogic power to expand himself 9 times to satisfy Devahuti's sexual desire. While the couple enjoyed themselves in the aerial mansion on an excellent bed, which enhanced their passion, they were unmindful of passing time. Invigorated by the mystic power, they were engrossed in carnal pleasure for 100 years, which passed as if it were only a few moments. Verse 47 and 48, self-realized Kardam could understand everyone's heart and could grant whatever one desired. Knowing that Devahuti wanted many daughters, the powerful sage in his 9 forms impregnated her with nine times. Later that day, in the way of the celestials, Devahuti gave birth to 9 female children, all charming in every limb and fragrant with the scent of red lotuses. Listen as I describe what then transpired. As the sun set, Devahuti relaxed on a white couch in her chamber. She was laughing at a private joke with her daughters as one of her maidservants ran in to say her husband was on his way. Devahuti immediately rose, her maidservant bustling around her, tidying her hair and refreshing her makeup. When Kardam arrived, Devahuti, along with their daughters, touched his feet respectfully. Seeing his grave expression, Devahuti understood he wanted to speak confidentially with her and asked everyone to leave. Verses 49 and 50, Kardam said, "I must now accept the renounced life of a sannyasi. Dear lady, I will depart this evening." Devahuti's heart sank. She had always feared this moment. How could she live without her husband? Still, having agreed to this condition, she could not now object. Scratching the ground with her gem-like toenail, she suppressed her tears and spoke sweetly to Kardam. Verses 51 and 52. "Lord, you have fulfilled the promises you made to me, yet because I am fully surrendered to you, you should now give me fearlessness. My dear Brahmins, your daughters will marry and go to their respective homes. Who will give me solace in your absence?" She glanced timidly at her husband, who understood her meaning. She wanted a son. The Vedas said that in the husband's absence, the son should take care for his mother. Verses 53 to 55, Devahuti continued, "Because of wasting so much time in sense gratification, I have not yet cultivated knowledge of the Supreme Lord, ignorant of your transcendental advancement. I have simply enjoyed with you. Please arrange that my love for you frees me from fear. Enjoying with a materialist leads to bondage. However, association with a saintly person, even for sense enjoyment, leads to liberation. The last verses of this chapter, 56 and 57. Devahuti wiped her tears with her sari. How foolish I have been, one whose acts do not result in a religious life of detachment and devotional service to Krishna is considered dead. Even though breathing, your association can free one from material bondage. Yet I am so unfortunate that I did not seek such liberation. This brings us to the end of chapter 23. Devahuti's lamentation. We will start with chapter 24 next time. Kardam's renunciation. Thank you for joining, and please take care, everyone, and glorify God and remember God and do your duties. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.